Kinder friends, welcome to the weekend. So here we go, sight words Saturday. We're gonna practice our sight words. We're on purple, our last color of the rainbow, yay! And then for story Sunday, you're going to write, we're gonna do a worksheet about an activity that you would choose. It's actually not about the story, but you can enjoy the story I'm gonna read you in a few minutes. Or you can go see this story, this great story, and it's called Grumpy Monkey. And I love the picture of that grumpy monkey. He's got like a birthday hat on. I love that. I have not read that story yet, but I think I'm going to click on that link and go to that story because that looks very interesting. I wonder what happened that he's so grumpy. So I would want to go read that. All right, so let's get going on our purple words. Our purple words, our last color of the rainbow. We have out, so, she, other, them, many, would, then, some, these. So these two are very similar. T-H-E-M, T-H-E-N, them, then. So make sure when you are reading these words that you really emphasize that last sound so we know which word it is, right? And remember, like I tell you every time, we say it, spell it, say it. Out, O-U-T, out. That way it sticks in your head, right? And I have our rainbow here. Let me grab that real quick. We have our rainbow. And if you have one of these, or my kiddos, I just sent it home in your bag. This is the rainbow, and some of you might have seen it at school, with all the sight words. So the red words are in the biggest, then the orange, then the yellow, then the green, then the blue, and purple are right here. So all the sight words are there, and when we're in school usually doing this, if you pass all your orange words, then we color in the orange ring. And then we move to, or the red words, and then we move to orange words and color in the orange ring. And we don't color them in until we know all those words in that color. So see if you can fill in your rainbow with all those words, all right? Okay, let's get to our story. All right, our story today is called More Bears. And I think this is a really cute story. The author is Ken Nesbitt and the illustrator is Troy Cummings. And so they wrote this book together. More Bears, and all around it says, more bears, more bears, more bears, more bears. So they must really like bears, huh? Here we go. Once upon a time, there was a story. This story was a lovely story with absolutely no bears in it. Not a single bear anywhere. Then one day, more bears! What? Who said that? The author of this story looked around the room, wondering where those voices had come from. Were those the voices of children shouting? Then he went back to writing. As I was saying, the story had absolutely no bears at all. The author was very certain about that. More bears! The author tried very, very hard to ignore the children who thought that the story ought to have more bears. Fine, the story had a bear. It was a cute little baby bear strolling through the book looking for more bears. Now hold on a second. The author of this story knew exactly how many bears it should have, and the author insisted there should only be more bears. 2 bears. There, happy now? An adorable, cuddly, wuddly little baby bear named Mr. Fluffy and his mama bear, Stella, who always wore a yellow hat. Now, it happened that Stella and Mr. Fluffy, like all bears, were especially fond of more bears. More bears, of course. The author was just thinking that. The author was thinking that just to keep everybody happy, the story should have a papa bear, whose name, by the way, was Captain Picklehead. And a bear named Uncle Sheldon, who was bald and loved to play the ukulele. Now, where were we? Oh, yes. Picklehead. What do you think they're going to say? More bears. Stop that! How many bears do you want this story to have anyways? Do you really want to hear about Bobcat Sam, the bear who rode a pony, and Admiral Haversham, the English dancing bear, and Excellent Steve, the bear who just wanted to surf? You know, you do? Wow. Why didn't you say so? In that case, the author suddenly decided that what this story really needed was more bears. Yes, 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 more bears. So the author added Astro Bear, who, by the way, was Bulgarian and always kept a hamster in his pocket, just in case. And then the author put in 3 more bears, named Lester, Chester, and Esther. And Floyd. Wait, that's 4. Oh, well, 4 is okay, because after all, this story really needed more bears. It needed a bear named Lucky Eddie, who juggles carrots, and a bear named Elbow, who wasn't very smart and always wore his underpants on the outside of his regular pants. And a bear named 123, which even the author thought was a strange name for a bear. And since this probably wasn't enough, the author added even more bears. The author added 6 bears on a tiny pink bicycle, 2 bears reading comic books, 1 bear flying across the page in a cape and lederhosen, 3 more bears swinging through trees on vines, a bear in a yellow submarine, several bears making cupcakes, and an entire team of firefighting bears running across the page with hoses, ladders, and party balloons. Look at all those bears. My goodness. There were bears hanging from the top of the page, bears sleeping in the corners, and bears standing on top of the bears. There were so many bears in the story that they couldn't all fit on the page. It was crowded. Too crowded. So crowded that some bears started pushing other bears off the page and arguing, which made the author grumpy. And when authors get grumpy, they start rewriting, changing the story. In fact, this author was so grumpy, he told the bears to leave. And they did. After all, this was the author's story. They walked off the page, they rode off the page, they swung, surfed, danced, climbed, ran, and even somersaulted off the page. The last page always gets stuck. At last, all the bears were gone, and the author smiled. Finally, the author had a story with no bears in it. A lovely story with not a single bear anywhere, just the way the author wanted it. Because you see, the author was quite certain that his story should have absolutely more chickens. I like that story. More bears. So all those bears came and then all those bears left. Wow, that was a good story. All right, let's get going. Our worksheet today looks like this, and it's talking about what you would choose and what you would not choose and why. So let's get started on that. All right, for our worksheet, it says I would choose, I would not choose. And then our choices are playing frisbee, building a sandcastle, playing ball. And they're the same choices for both. So I want you to think of these: playing frisbee, building a sandcastle, playing ball. Which one would you choose and which one would you not choose? You might want to do all 3, or you might not want to do all 3. If you had to pick one and you had to leave one out, which one would you pick and which one would you leave out? Then the sentence says, I would choose blank because blank. I would not choose blank because blank. So let's try one. I would choose building a sandcastle, because if we're building a sandcastle, then maybe we're at the beach and it's nice and warm. Looks like she's in her bathing suit. That's my kind of activity. So they want you to color in the one you choose, and then I'm going to write it on the line. I would choose building a sandcastle. Now that's a lot of words to fit right in here. So I'm going to make 2 lines, I think. Building a, leave a little space, sandcastle. Building a sandcastle. So do your best to fit in that line if that's the one you choose. I would choose building a sandcastle because I might be at the beach. And I added space between each word. If you don't know the word, what do? We pull the word, listen for the sounds we hear, and write them down. So you're going to tell your reason why. I might be at the beach. And remember, we're at the end of kindergarten, so we're trying to do more than one sentence. I would choose build a sandcastle because I might be at the beach. I like the beach because, there's that big word again, because it is warm. Not always, but sometimes it is warm. So there's my 2 sentences. I would choose building a sandcastle because I might be at the beach. I like the beach because it is warm. So then I'm going to come down here and do what I would not choose to do. I would not choose playing frisbee. Playing frisbee. I would not choose playing frisbee because it makes me frustrated. I've played frisbee a few times, and every time I just get frustrated. For some reason, frisbees and I do not work. And every time I try to throw it, it goes in a direction I don't want it to go in. So it usually makes me frustrated. So if I had to say no to one of these activities, it would be to frisbee. So you're going to pick which one, color in which one, write it on the line, tell why. And again, we're trying for at least 2 sentences. I would not choose play frisbee because it makes me frustrated. I have a hard time throwing the frisbee. Period. So I have 2 sentences. I would not choose play frisbee because it makes me frustrated. Period. Next sentence. I have a hard time throwing the frisbee. Period. 2 sentences for both. I told which one I would like and which one I would not like. I could circle here that I did not want to do frisbee, but I did want to do building a sandcastle. I made sure that I had a capital at the beginning of each sentence. I had finger spaces in between each word. I have punctuation at the end. Awesome job. I can't wait to see which one you would choose and which one you would not choose.